Hello everybody, I'm Krasia Tasiu, and this is my week for the 12 Ascendants, when I will be talking about each of the 12 Ascendants and how the stellar and the planetary configurations will influence us. This is not only valid for the Ascendants, but also for the moon signs. Could be also valid to a degree to the sun signs, but it will certainly influence the Ascendant and the moon signs. And I am using sidereal astrology. Now, first I will make an overview, and after that we'll look ascendant per ascendant, and the timestamps will be under this video. So what is happening this week, which is starting from 6th of January 2020 until 12th of January. On 10th of January, we're having the prenumbral lunar eclipse, which will be visible in part of Australia, part of Asia, Europe, part of Africa, and I made separate video on the eclipse. But this eclipse is very important and is happening just after the eclipse, the partial solar eclipse, which we had on 26th of December 2019. So these two eclipses go together, and this eclipse is happening on the same axis of Sagittarius Gemini, sidereally Sagittarius Gemini. So which would say that if you have moon, ascendant, sun, midheaven in these particular places, you will certainly feel the eclipses. Now, the eclipses indeed are not auspicious events, but there is also nothing to worry so much about, because eclipses we have every year from 2 to 7 eclipses. Well, this year we'll be having 6, which is not very auspicious. This will make the year a bit difficult. So if you have ascendant or descendant, Sagittarius, Gemini, moon, sun, midheaven there, you will feel the eclipses. But in general, for the whole world, the situation on the sky is not very easy, and this is because we have the complex conjunction of Jupiter, Ketu, Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun and Pluto, and Saturn and Pluto conjunction, which is happening also this week. And all this in the sign of Sagittarius is in the most philosophical and spiritual sign. So it will be all about spirituality, making decisions on our make choices, because certainly the previous eclipse and also this one will influence us on mundane level, most probably not in a very positive way, because eclipses are not positive events. But in general, also this conjunction is about choosing the right spiritual path, a philosophical belief system. All this is happening right now, but I have detailed video on the eclipse. However, this particular conjunction of planets is happening this week. It's a fact also from before, but this week is also valid. And it's very important about the spiritual choices, the moral choices that we're making. So the planets the only planets that remain visible and very powerful this week is Mars in his sign of Scorpio, and he's starting the week also in a very specific degree called Hermetic degree, which is about knowledge. So it will be about knowledge. Most probably new information and knowledge will be reviewed to us, and it is also about our spiritual awareness, level of consciousness. This is certainly important, and it is emphasized on this week and by these eclipses. So also when saying this, is important to tell that when we are having eclipses approaching or eclipses happening, the week is certainly not appropriate for important work, for important decisions or actions to be taken, or medical interventions. Certainly not, because it is good to wait a while. People who have Sagittarius Gemini on a key position, like I said, could feel that a little bit they're temporary, their luck is being locked, that the things are being slowed down, but this is temporary. And as I'm telling you, eclipses we have every year, so nothing new. And eclipses on this axis we had already last year quite some times. So not in you. Now, the good thing which gives very positive view on what is happening this week is Venus. And Venus also on the chart of the eclipse, but also Venus now is in the sign of Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn is not bad because she's trining her own sign, Taurus. She is a bit limited, structured, very knowledgeable, wise maybe, but still Venus is visible and is forming harmonious aspect with Mars, and therefore I believe that there is that the week is not entirely difficult. So yes, these are the main celestial, the most important celestial events. Of course, still the important conjunction of the invisible planet in Sagittarius remain valid and is influencing the whole world. And yes, so will be this week, so will be the week after. So let's start now sign by sign. So for people who have ascendant Aries, sidereal ascendant Aries, or moon in Aries, or if you're looking from tropical point of view, then it will be Taurus, but ascendant Aries, for you, this complex conjunction of planet is happening on your ninth house, so is the eclipse. The eclipse is taking place on your ninth house, and actually this looks like a good configuration because it's very spiritual one, and it is not harming you. And on the other hand, Venus from your 10th house is very helpful because Venus will be aspecting your ascendant and will be giving very good opportunities at work. However, because the week is so complex, it's good really to enjoy the work environment, but not to make important decisions, not to start negotiations. Such is the week. Also due to the fact that your ascendant ruler is in your 8th house, in own place in Scorpio. This is not bad. Mars in Scorpio is very knowledgeable, especially in the first 10 degrees, very knowledgeable, can lead you very much into secret interest, into secret knowledge, secret sciences. So this placement of Mars is good, but being in the 8th house is not appropriate for any important new initiatives, new decisions, negotiations. The week could be very appropriate to study, to enhance your intuition, to do spiritual practices. You may even travel, but but avoid the days around the eclipse, especially 10th, 11th, even 12th of January, because still the eclipse is still quite powerful, influencing the whole Earth. So you may travel, like I told you, to negotiate, to make important decisions, and to make important new beginnings. This week is for no one appropriate, but you can have good environment at work. Good would say that Venus is really saving you and is on your 10th house, and this is quite good blessing because she's also creating harmonious aspect with your ascendant ruler. In this sense, the week will be also very good in terms of health. So for you, this placement, the having of the complex conjunction of planets on your 9th house, your powerful ascendant ruler could also is quite positive placement. Mars on your 8th house could be very appropriate if you expect incomes from partners, or could be very good for the incomes of your partner. So the week is very good for you. Enjoy. Just avoid the timing around the eclipse to do any important deeds. All right. For ascendant Taurus, sidereal, and if you are following the tropical astrology, you will be ascendant Gemini most probably. Now, for you, the week is also very interesting because your ascendant ruler, Venus, is creating harmonious aspect from your 9th house towards your ascendant. This is very nice, very good for your studies, very good for a relationship with people abroad, very good for your to enhance your spirituality, your intuition. On the other hand, Mars is very powerful on your 7th house, in his own place, in Scorpio. This is knowledgeable place because Mars is in such degrees, will be this week, but still this would mean that your relationship your relationships in general, your relationship with your romantic partner can be a little bit disharmonious. Could be that there you need in particular to be patient, loving, intuitive, because your seventh house is having the powerful influences of very, very strong Mars, and very deep and sometimes a bit surprising. On the other hand, well, you are saved by Venus, and also the sextile, the harmonious aspect between Mars and Venus um, can be very emotional and not bad at all, but still Mars is on your seventh house and can be a bit surprising. On the other hand, you're having Jupiter, Ketu, Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Pluto, all meeting in your eighth house. In your eighth house, so busy with so many planets, is not aspecting directly your ascendant, but can be very interesting again in terms of secretive studies, spirituality. Still, this can be so that you may not directly have financial benefits from this, because the planets are invisible and they're not directly bringing the benefits that we may expect, especially through partnerships like they would mean in your eighth house. But still, could be that something is being prepared in relation to finances via partnerships, and this will be seen and will become visible and be manifested as soon as the planets become visible. And the first one who will become visible also on your eighth house will be Jupiter, end of January. So activities are like happening on your eighth house in relation to incomes or money coming from partnerships or from your romantic partner, but still they will be seen a bit later, but there is some activity happening there. The other direction of this activity, these energies, are towards secret studies, philosophical knowledge. So could be happening on this deep in level, which is not directly felt, delicate, deep, intrinsic level, because all the planets are invisible. During this week, be a little bit cautious when traveling, when negotiating. Also, be especially diplomatic, intuitive, loving with your partner, and also diplomatic with any partnerships. And the week is not appropriate for any important initiatives. Be especially careful around the dates of 10th, 11th of January, because the eclipse is taking place on these dates. So have a good week. Now we're looking at Ascendant Gemini or Moon in Gemini, Sidereal, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, most probably you will be Cancer Ascendant. Now for you, you're having this interesting, powerful conjunction of planets, including your Ascendant ruler Mercury in your seventh house. And there is also the eclipse will be taking place. The eclipse will take place on your seventh house, and so was the eclipse which took place on 26th of December. Nothing to worry about, but it's good to know it, because knowledge is power, so that you know that if you feel a little bit disharmonies in terms of relationships, or your plans are being a little bit slowed down, this is due to these eclipses, and you may need to be a little bit patient. I know that you've been patient enough, having Saturn and Pluto and Ketu for a very long time on your descendant, but it's a little bit still to wait until Saturn moves away 31st of January from your descendant, until Jupiter becomes visible 30th of January. So it's really a little bit left over only. On the other hand, Venus is a helping hand, because Venus and Mars are creating harmonious aspect towards your sixth house. And with this, you may indeed experience in your work environment, in your routine environment, a bit of disharmonies, possible hostilities, like you may see disharmonies with subordinates. Could be that health-wise you feel a little bit not really very, again, disharmonies, but this will be temporary. Venus is giving helping hand for sure, but still have healthy lifestyle, be very spiritual, be careful and avoid important deeds, important decisions, important also risky situations, in particular around the date of 10th and 11th of January, because the eclipse is taking place on 10th of January. So during this date, really, it's better not to do any very important deeds, also not to look at the eclipse. Don't give special attention to this, don't have any fears. We have this all the time, but still it's important to know it so that you don't wonder why. Could be that some important business activities you are a little bit slowed down, or that you have some tension in your private life. It's possible because this is happening on your 7th house. Just be very spiritual, be very patient, be loving, be forgiving, and all this will pass soon. But only when we're spiritual, when we vibrate on a very high level, we will not feel any of these influences. And also after 31st of January, all will be changing for good for you. So during this week, not very appropriate really to make important decisions and negotiations. Just do your routine, and the week will be okay. So this was for Gemini ascendant, and now we look at Cancer. So we're looking at Cancer ascendant, sidereal Cancer. If you have Moon Cancer, this will be also valid. If you're following the tropical astrology, then most probably you will be having Leo ascendant. So now, sidereal Cancer ascendant. Now, for you, luckily this week also you're having Venus on your 7th house, and she will be giving you blessing in terms of private life, private relationship, in terms of agreements with people, even friendships. On the other hand, the conjunction of planets, Jupiter invisible, Ketu, Mercury, the Sun, Saturn, Pluto, and also the eclipse on the 10th of January, they are all taking place on your 6th house. This would say that there will be a lot happening on your routine environment with subordinates, with colleagues. Could be that you need to be a bit cautious with your health. Could be that you need to be very diplomatic and careful with the people that you work with the people that you share your routine environment. There you need to be cautious. Apart from that, Mars and Venus are creating harmonious aspect, and this can influence for good your love, your romantic life, can even go a little bit too emotional. Therefore, you may need to be diplomatic, or well, actually, this is not a bad aspect. And Venus on the 7th house is blessing and is a saving hand, and it's something very good that can happen because Venus is making also harmonious aspect to your ascendant. So the week is fine. Just don't avoid this week important initiatives, important deeds, important negotiations. Could be that you may need to wait a while. Now, in particularly, the dates 10th and 11th are not very auspicious of this week. So during 10th and 11th, avoid risks, avoid important travels, avoid important negotiations if you can. So this was for Ascendant Cancer, and now we're looking at Ascendant Leo. Now, for Ascendant Leo or Moon in Leo, or these are sidereal coordinates. If you're following modern astrology, you most probably will have Ascendant Virgo. For Ascendant Leo, sidereal or Moon in Leo. Now, this week for you, your Ascendant ruler together with Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto are all in your 5th house, and the 5th house is the house of the good fortune. So this is not bad placement of all these planets, but certainly will emphasize activities in this particular house, and the activities can be related to creativity, of course, love, of course, creative studies and artistic work and pleasure and knowledge. Here, interestingly, the planets, as I mentioned before, are all invisible, and due to their invisibility on the sky, also their influences on you and on your 5th house will be a little bit too delicate, or you may not feel it directly, or you may feel it on a very, very delicate intrinsic level. Now, the eclipse is also taking place on your 5th house, and this will say that, well, this eclipse for good is not afflicting you in a bad way, like with this harmonious aspect, but still can be so that you may need to be a little bit patient with your romantic partner. You may need to be a little bit attentive, like I repeat, but it's also valid now, I know, with children. Could be that you feel for a moment change in your artistic desires or artistic talents, like a shift or other interests, or could be that after this eclipse some knowledge will be revealed to you. In general, the eclipses are not auspicious events, therefore around 10th and 11th, don't do important decisions, trips, or initiatives or negotiations, just be on the safe side. On the other hand, Venus on your 6th house is a very good placement, because she will give some peace into your routine environment. This will be also harmonious and supportive for your health. And Mars and Venus create harmonious aspect, and with this, well, this is supportive to your, can be a little bit emotional indeed, but still this is supportive to your work environment. Mars during this week will be in placement, will pass through very powerful knowledge-based degrees in Scorpio, so he's very powerful there. But also, he will be affecting your 10th house of your work, of your superiors, and there you may need to be a bit diplomatic and intuitive. Other than that, the week looks good for you. Just be careful and don't take risks, and avoid important deeds, important work, important decisions around 10th and 11th of January. So this was the week for Leo, and see you next week. So we're looking now at Ascendant Virgo, or Moon in Virgo would also have similar influences, not exactly the same, but still. And also these are sidereal Ascendant Virgo. If you are using the tropical zodiac, most probably you will recognize yourself as Ascendant Libra. So sidereal Virgo, Ascendant, or Moon. Now, this week for you, your ascendant ruler, together with Jupiter, Ketu, the Sun, Saturn, and Pluto, are meeting on your 4th house of your home. Also, the eclipse on 10th of January will take place on your 4th house. This makes your everything that is happening at your home, also house, also related to real estate, to properties. This is where the big activities are taking place. And also because on both sides, in a mirroring, in a mirroring position, Mars and Venus, this will certainly be influencing your spirituality, and maybe to a degree your romantic love life, your emotions, and also your interest to study, to enhance your spirituality. Now, because the eclipse is taking place on important axis for you, and this is the 4th and 10th house, could be that you may need to be very patient, very cautious, diplomatic, intuitive at home, but also at work. Could be that at home you may need to be patient and loving to people that you live with, to parents, but at work you may also need to be very diplomatic. Things may be a bit slowed down in relation to your plans and work. Don't expect big results and success at work right now. Be patient, be diplomatic, be very spiritual. And then this period will pass. It's not a dangerous period. We had many like this. Just note that because important axis is being influenced by an eclipse, you may also need to be a little bit patient. Venus is giving you helping hand to your romantic life, also to your finances. So financially the week is not good. It's not bad, sorry. Financially the week is not bad. Avoid maybe important travels, decisions, plans around 10th and 11th in particular of, um, of, of January. For the rest, as I said, your private life is very much helped by Venus, and so are your finances this week. So this is for Ascendant Virgo, and now we look at Ascendant Libra. So we're looking at Ascendant Libra or Moon in Libra, sidereal coordinates, or if you're looking at the tropical zodiac, most probably you will have Scorpio Ascendant, but sidereally Ascendant Libra or Moon in Libra. Now your Ascendant ruler is on your 4th house, and with this Venus is aspecting your Ascendant, aspecting your Descendant, creating harmonious aspect with Mars, who is very strong on your 2nd house, and this is fine. This will support your house, your relationship with the family members, with parents, will influence for good also your career. Financially, this is also not a bad placement because Venus and Mars are creating harmonious aspect, and Mars is not bad and very powerful on your 2nd house. Now, the important conjunction of many planets, Jupiter invisible, Ketu, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun is taking place on your 3rd house. And the 3rd house is very much related to spirituality, to knowledge, to studies, to to travels. This is the axis which is responsible for all this. Now, the good thing is that also the eclipse is happening on this axis because this will influence your spirituality, maybe for good, but it is always complex and not very auspicious event, the eclipse. However, the emphasis is on your 3rd house. Could be that you need to be patient and loving with your siblings, but also could be that already you're experiencing spiritual transformation in a very positive way, new knowledge, new information that is just given to you if you're seeking, of course. Could be also that after this eclipse, you feel these spiritual searchings may be enhanced and helped in a certain way or changed. So Venus will be supporting your home and will giving a helping hand to your ascendant. So health-wise, this is also fine. So in terms of health, in terms of support to your career and home, the week is okay. However, be careful around the days of 10th and 11th of January. During this time, don't make important decisions, plans, negotiations. It's good to wait a while. So this was for Ascendant Libra. So we're looking at Ascendant Scorpio or Moon in Scorpio, sidereal coordinates. If you are following the tropical zodiac, most probably you will be having Ascendant Sagittarius. So Ascendant Scorpio. Now for you this week is very interesting like the week before, but this week you're having Mars on his own place on your Ascendant, and this week he's passing through very powerful degrees of knowledge, of deep philosophical knowledge. These are degrees which people who are natural healers or who are mediums would have. So such will be the influence of this week of Mars in these particular degrees, the hermetic degrees. Also, the placement of Mars is about depth and can be a little bit unpredictable because it's really very deep. However, he is creating harmonious aspect with Venus also this week until the end of the week, I think. And this particular aspect is can work in a very positive, intensive way on your emotions. And because Venus is ruling your 7th house of your partnerships, it can be so that he influences in a bit disharmonious and too deep and too emotional way your partnerships, your romantic life. Therefore, it's good that you remain intuitive and loving, because this can be a little bit indeed too emotional. Now, this complex conjunction of planets, of Jupiter invisible, Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Pluto, Ketu are all meeting on your second house. And also the eclipse on 10th of January will take place there. So when this complex conjunction is happening on the second house, certainly this will impact your money. And certainly there may be a lot of activity happening, going on related to the way you're making money, your finances in general, but still could be that you don't see results yet. And this is due to the invisibility of the planets. Could be that you see results after 31st of January, but still most probably a lot will be happening there. Could be also that around the eclipse, after the eclipse, you feel a bit that your business is a bit slowed down. This is also possible. However, nothing to worry about so much. This is happening. We have eclipses every year, just that in second house issues may be a little bit slowed down, like money, relationship with family members, your family tree. So this is also possible. Some negotiations, speech related matters can also be a little bit delayed. However, the harmonious aspect between Mars and Venus is very positive. And also through this, you may still, you have this blessing of Venus on your third, ninth houses, so you may still have some good relationship with partners, with trade matters, with siblings. Also, you may receive results from negotiations for good. And spiritually, also, the placement of Venus is very auspicious. So only be careful around the date of 10th and 11th of January around the eclipse, because around this time it's not appropriate to do any important deeds, important decisions, important travels, in order to be on the safe side. Okay. And now we're looking at Ascendant Sagittarius. You're having Jupiter already on your Ascendant, of course, Ketu, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun also this week. They all meet on your Ascendant. This will bring a lot of activities, personal, work-related, in relation to your private life, of course. And the eclipse is also this eclipse will take place on your Ascendant, which could result in some delays in your activities. If you're expecting important results from deals or from your business, it could be that you are a little bit delayed for some time. Now you will be certainly experiencing the influences of all these planets on your Ascendant in a very spiritual way, even transformative for good. It could be that you receive spiritual information, knowledge, new knowledge. Could be that you feel yourself very spiritual, very intuitive, and this is certainly happening on very introvert, on very delicate intrinsic level. Now, during this week, be in particular careful around 10th and 11th of January, and during this time it's really not appropriate to make important decisions, important deeds, to travel. You have the harmonious influence of Mars and Venus, which are just around your Ascendant. And this is actually very harmonious, because this can be positive for your finances, can support also your private life, can, in a very emotional and positive level, will give you opportunities to win over enemies, for example, and will be supportive to communicate with family members, can give you also opportunities to financial and also to negotiate. However, as I say, avoid the dates 10th of 11th and 11th of January. So you will see good results when all these invisible planets, now you experience them only on a very delicate intrinsic level, but once they become visible, especially Jupiter on 30th of January, approximately, depends where you're located, you will feel already better and relieved, and you will see results from your actions and from your deeds. Okay, this was for Sagittarius, and now we're looking at Capricorn. So we're looking at Capricorn ascendant or moon in Capricorn. Now for you, Venus is in your ascendant also this week, and this is blessing, this is very good. On the other hand, Mars and Venus are creating harmonious aspect, and Mars is on your 11th house. Now this is fine for your incomes, can give interesting opportunities coming from people that you know, can give movement in relation to your plans in a positive way, can be good and supportive for your private and romantic life. Now your ascendant ruler Saturn is still invisible and still on your 12th house, and is together with Mercury, with the Sun, with Ketu, with Jupiter, with Pluto. Complex configuration, which certainly is influencing you, because your ascendant ruler is taking part in this, and it's happening on your 12th house. So this is still very spiritual time for you, time that that could be that you still desire solitude and you seek isolation from others, but still yes, as in particularly, this is a very important conjunction, because also the eclipse it will be taking place there on your 12th house, and this can influence your spirituality, can enhance your intuition in a way. Could be that you may need to be a little bit cautious in relation to health, and be cautious with people, hidden enemies, people that may turn into enemies. This is also a possibility. Around the date of 10 and 11, be careful, like don't make important decisions, travels, because the eclipse is taking place on the 10th, and usually during this time it's appropriate to be to be on the safe side. Other than that, Venus is giving you great helping hand in relation to finances, relationship, and health. So the week is good for you. Just be cautious a little bit with the people around you, people that share your social environment, people that don't. Just be careful whom you trust, and be responsible for your health. So we're looking now at ascendant Aquarius or moon in Aquarius sidereal coordinates. Now, if you use in the modern tropical astrology, most probably you will be ascendant Pisces. Now, with you, your ascendant ruler Saturn is invisible together with Mercury, together with the Sun, Jupiter, Pluto, all on your 11th house. This is auspicious because the 11th house is the house of the good spirit, and it is so that a lot may be happening related to your social circle. Could be also that a lot of plans and you have in relation to finances, but could be that you're not seeing result yet, and the result may be coming later, after Jupiter becomes visible, after end of January. The eclipse is also going to take place on your 11th house, so could be that around the first 10th and 11th are the 2 days when you may need to be cautious, that these 2 days are not appropriate to do important deeds, important decisions, to travel, to negotiate. Be a bit cautious. Also, be a little bit attentive towards children also during this time, because the eclipse is influencing the axis of 11th and 5th houses of children. Now, could be also that you may need to be cautious, and because this eclipse may review after that who are your real friends. Could be that people who you consider friends are not such. On the other hand, Mars has very positive placement right now, because he is on your 10th house, in his own sign of Scorpio, and could be that he also brings powerful energies and make you desire to achieve or create a lot of activities in relation to your 10th house, to your plans, to your career. Still, even if you have the desire to grow, to have, maybe you have plans, maybe you have plans for new initiatives, activities, all related to your career and growth, I would say just be cautious around this week and wait until the influences of the eclipse just move away. On the other hand, the Mars and Venus aspect is very harmonious, which could be a positive also. Well, positive in general, and could be a little bit emotional also, because so is the influence of this aspect, but the placement of Venus is very harmonious in terms of your health, in terms of winning over possible enemies. So the week will be good for you. Just avoid the timing around 10th and 11th of January. Just don't do any important activities. Wait a while. So we're looking at ascendant Pisces right now, and for you, your ascendant ruler Jupiter is still invisible. He will become visible end of January, and Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Pluto, Ketu are all on your 10th house to emphasize on possible career, and they are emphasizing on the activities related to your career, can make the place they're very busy, very activities may be taking place. Now, even though you may have such interesting plans, you may desire to have career growth, also because Mars is harmoniously aspecting your ascendant from your 9th house. And Venus is also very auspicious and helping you financially from your 11th house. Still, I would say, keep in mind that this week on 10th, we'll be having eclipse, which will be happening on the axis of your career, 10th and 4th houses. And you, even though you may have a lot of activities happening and desires to do changes in your career, could be that you still may need to wait, because this time is not auspicious for new beginnings and for any important initiatives, especially 10th and 11th of January. Around these dates, be careful. As I say, Venus is very helpful this week because she's in your 11th house and harmoniously aspecting the ascendant, and is auspicious in terms of money and in terms of gains. Now, Mars on your 9th house is very powerful in degrees which are very hermetic, very knowledge-based. And he could be very helpful exactly in this, desiring to study, desiring to share knowledge, desiring to do spiritual activities and esoteric activities. For this, the week will be very fine. So I wish you a very good week. And this is basically my week for the 12 ascendants. See you next week. And also every day in my daily astrology.